tick, tock is all I hear coming out of my clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock, sharper than a bell and louder than a knock. Tick, tock, tick, tock, and it keeps ticking. It keeps ticking and talking as we're currently talking and never stops. I observed, though, how it was so concise, never skipping a second, it was so precise. It was like a song, like a heart never going off beat, each tick on the dot so discreet. It was this timeless time-telling machine that struck me on the day I turned 16. I mean, I was still young, at least so they'd say, but I think I saw the wrinkles trying to make their way, and so I started to think, what have I done in the past 16 years alive? Did I take risks for change, or was I trapped inside my hive? Did I neglect peace, or for it did I strive? And I realized I did nothing. Absolutely nothing. But chilling with my friends and shopping at the mall. Time being wasted checking my Facebook wall. Texting my friends all day and night. Although they just left my sight. All the Friday nights that were spent on the phone. Thought time would last, but it has surely flown. And then, suddenly, a storm of guilt flooded my past, afraid that I don't know how long I have to last. I mean, we all know that there's no age for death, and that our first might actually be our last breath. Then I remembered a saying that the prophet once said, a saying that since I heard was just fixed in my head, that we're supposed to take advantage of 5 before 5, our body and health before we fall sick, our youth before we start walking on a stick, our wealth and money before we become broke, and our free time before we have no time to even joke, but most importantly, our life before our death. So, if I have 4 or 5 out of the 5, then what's my excuse? You can't keep saying, one day I'll make a difference when I'm like 29 or now I'm still young. I've got tons of time, because life is like a drop of water in the sea. It's like 0 compared to infinity, and who said you even have the guarantee to live tomorrow? Time is not just flying, it's fleeing like crazy. And here we are, so effortless, so careless, so lazy. We need to make use of it before it runs out, because making the world a better place is what our existence is all about. We are the youth, the leaders of our nation. We gotta start taking action from now to assure a good destination. We start and end revolutions as we've all seen. Together, united, we're stronger than Spider-Man and Wolverine. We're something else, man. We're the youth. So, I make a call to all those like me, who want to make change but can't quite find the key, who plan so much for tomorrow and forget they have today. But problem is, if we stick to this mentality, our youth will actually decay. Because the measure of youth is not by how young you are or how fast you can drive a car, but it's all here in your heart, and how much you can do, how much you can give, how much you can see through. So, just by being young, you don't redeem the noble status of youth. It's only given to those who truly deserve it, and that's the truth. And thank you. Now, what I just did is spoken word poetry. And what I just did is what I propose all of us do. And no, I don't mean that we all start rhyming and doing spoken word poetry. But what I do propose to all of you today is the idea to use whatever talents, whatever passions you have to better change your community, and then on a larger scale, humanity. Where I actually derived this idea from was the TEDx theme: passion, purpose, and perspective. And to be honest, when I first looked at the 3, I'm like, there's absolutely no correlation between the 3. But what I decided to do later on is merge the 3 concepts together to form an ultimate statement. Through my perspective, I use my passion to serve my purpose. So, a very obvious question can be, well, what's your purpose? And that's the big question of life. Why am I here? But I think I have an answer to that question. It's been working for me, and it just might work for you as well. I believe I'm here because I can make a difference. I'm here to make the world a better place. Because if I was just here to chill and have fun, then there really would be no difference, would there, between us and, no offense, animals? Yes, although science classifies us as mammals, we as humans have a mind that is able to bring ideas and innovations into this world, making it a better place, which is obviously something animals are not capable of doing. And so keeping this in mind, going back to my poem, which was obviously autobiographical, it kind of examined an awakening I've had last year when I was 16, when I felt that I wasn't really doing much with my life. I'm the kind of person that says, okay, one day I'm going to change the world, but I worry so much about what I'm going to do, and I forget about what I can do today. So last year I actually decided to do something. I decided to open an orphanage, believe it or not. And I specifically choose an orphanage because personally, I cannot live without either one of my parents, and knowing that some children out there don't have this gift, this opportunity that I do, made me want to provide them with it. And so my project actually started off really well. I got together with a group of youth, and we would have Skype meetings, and all was going great. Until I contacted the Ministry of Social Services of Ontario, and I was speaking with the woman on the phone, and when I hung up, I'm like, whoa, this is much more than I can do. You know, it's not that I don't want to do it, just that I can't do it now. I have no financial standing. I'm in high school. I have no time. This isn't going to work out. And from there, the project kind of collapsed, and it was a huge failure. And that's when I realized maybe it's a bit bigger than I was. And it really bummed me out, especially knowing that Craig Kielberger opened Free the Children when he was 12. And here I am, 16, more than halfway through 30, and I can't even open an orphanage. Now, by time I realized that I did take a spoon too full, and that's when I began to ask myself, well, what can I do? What passions, what talents do I have that I can use to benefit my community, and then on a larger scale, humanity? And I realized, hey, I have a passionate obsession for change and peace, and I love doing spoken word poetry. So why not merge these two concepts together to serve my ultimate purpose, which these two passions of mine, to serve my ultimate purpose, which is to make the world a better place through my perspective as just a normal 17-year-old. And that's when I really started using poetry as an instrument to ignite the issues we face in society and raising awareness, whether it's about the media, races, or simple ideologies like being the change you want to see in the world, like Gandhi said. And I actually became a strong, firm believer in that. And I have a poem where I say, God does not change a nation unless they change their self-formation. So if you want love, be the love. And if you want peace, be the peace. And I think this is so important because the world is not going to change unless you change. So I want you to imagine the world where everyone runs to opens the door for people, where everyone recycles, where everyone smiles at people for no reason in a non-creepy way, when everyone does these things. Imagine the world we would be living in. Would it be really, compare that world to the world we live in today? Can we draw a line between that? And so I think our goal shouldn't be one big one, and it shouldn't be to make one big change in the world, but it should be to make millions of small ones. And this takes me to the story of the hummingbird, which you might know. So there was a forest, and the forest was going on fire, and there was a little lake. And so all the animals are standing, oh dear, our forest, our home is going on fire, what do we do? So this little hummingbird flies up, she goes over to the lake, goes down with her tiny beak, picks up a tiny droplet of water, flies over to the forest, and drops it, thinking she's going to do something. Now, all the animals are like, dude, hummingbird, what are you doing? You're so small. So the hummingbird looks at them and she says, I'm doing what I can. And that is exactly what we all need to do. We need to do what we can. We need to look at whatever talents, whatever passions you have, whatever they may be, think about how they might benefit your community on a smaller scale. Start small, and then maybe the world. So I want you all, by show of hands, who's going to go home tonight? And first, actually before that, how many of you here actually consider yourself talented? Who has a talent? Come on. Don't be humble. Raise your hand. Come on. That's kind of what I expected, but everyone else with your hands down, that's impossible. Everyone is talented. Everyone has a talent, whatever it is. It may be as small as whatever it may be. And it may be drawing, it may be talking, it may be art, it may be photography, whatever it is. Maybe it be math. So your task for today, I want you to go home and write on a piece of paper what you can do, your capabilities. Like pretend you have a resume. And now take that resume and think, okay, what can I use from that I can benefit others and not just myself? So with this, I kind of propose to you my final proposal, to take advantage of 5 before 5. Our body and health before we fall sick, our youth before you start walking on a stick, our wealth and money before you become broke, and our free time before we have no time to even joke, but most importantly, our life before our death. You know, let us not live in regret, knowing that we could have done something when it's now too late. And you can call me crazy for wanting to change the world with such a simple idea of mine, but I'd like to remind you of that famous quote, that the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. And thank you.